Michael Drogalis, founder of ShadowTraffic. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me, Sean.
It is so nice to see you because I keep talking about you on all these videos that I'm doing because we keep using ShadowTraffic to simulate data. I thought, dang it, I should actually just get Michael on because this is a super useful tool. So let's start out. We're going to go ahead and do something for realsies. But first, give a quick explanation of ShadowTraffic for people that aren't sure or unaware.
Yeah, I have been working in data streaming for about a decade, various companies, most recently Confluent. And I had just noticed that this problem kind of kept coming up over and over. I call it the $10,000 demo problem, which was that anytime I had to build a demo or like a load test or a POC, anything that needed to simulate customer traffic, it was just really expensive to do. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of intricacies about how you generate streaming data that just sort of make this an interesting problem. And so I really wanted to solve it. That's why I started ShadowTraffic. It is a synthetic data generator that lets you simulate production traffic to your Kafka cluster, WarpStream cluster, Postgres cluster, a whole bunch of different destinations. And it does a lot of interesting things for your data, like create relationships, model state over time, anything that's kind of complicated about simulating traffic, it tries to take care of.
Yeah, and that's what was useful for me. I had just hacked together a little bento script, with some randomized information, but it was just random. It was really just to test connections. I couldn't do anything productive with it because it was completely uninteresting. So cool. Well, with that said, what I thought we'd do is I'm going to make you set up a WarpStream cluster, get some credentials, pop it into ShadowTraffic, and kind of explain what's happening there. So if you want to screen share, we can start.
Let's do it. Fingers crossed it all works.
Oh, it'll work. It's all too easy.
Piece of cake, I'm in.
All right, so create a cluster.
That's an inviting animation. Makes me want to do it.
Click me, click me. So we're going to do serverless. That's really all you need. You just give it a name and create. Now you can exit the tutorial here. This is really handy your first time through, but you can just click exit. So the one on the right is this tutorial cluster that was just built, and that disappears after an hour. We're going to do the one on the left. So go ahead and click on credentials, create, give it a name.
Leave it checked. The super user.
Yeah, yeah. If you're going to do ACLs or something, you want that. All right, save this.
Beautiful. I guess this is where I'll transition to the ShadowTraffic side because I believe this is all I need.
Yeah.
And so yeah, the thing we discussed was it would be cool if we just created two topics that had customers and orders. And the thing that's often tricky about doing this is that an orders topic probably needs to have a customer ID that's real. I mean, you could either have like a set of three customer IDs, which is not very interesting, or you could just generate random ones, in which case your app won't be able to make sense. And so the thing you
Right.
really want is for them to sort of line up relationally. And so
Exactly.
I'll just copy these down. So I've got my editor here on the left with my ShadowTraffic file, and on here I have a terminal on the right.
Okay.
And I'll just describe this really quickly. ShadowTraffic uses JSON to describe the shape of your data. It has a couple things, one of which is an array of generators. And so we talked about a customers topic. And then it just models the shape of your data as it is. It basically goes and looks at your JSON and it tries to find maps that have a key called _gen and it compiles functions there. So in this case, it's
Okay.
going to make customer IDs that are UUIDs, names that are real names, zones that are a choice of 1, 2, and 3 that are weighted, and so on and so forth. And then for orders, likewise, we create order IDs, and then most critically, the customer ID uses a function called lookup. So it
Ah,
basically says, hey, go find stuff that I've already generated for customers, and then give me
okay.
the customer ID and put it right here. Um,
Okay. Oh, let me point out one thing while we're at this point. So your topics are right there. So by default, WarpStream, when you set up a new cluster, it will create a topic if it doesn't exist. So we don't have to explicitly create it. That's probably not a good idea in production, but for testing like this, you didn't have to go and do anything with topics. So it's convenient.
Absolutely, it's a super good user experience to get started. And the rest of this is fairly self-explanatory. The last thing that I need to do is to configure some connections, and I had pre-populated this with something that we had worked on before, but I'm going to go ahead and plug in my credentials now. Um,
Okay.
this is probably the trickiest part of getting the whole thing to work right is the the connection strings. So I want my username to pop in and my JAS config, and then my password to pop in as well. So copy that. And so this is how the shadow traffic file actually looks when you stitch all the connection information in.
Hey, I've got an idea. Give me those credentials, and I'm gonna paste them into my shadow traffic file, and I'm gonna see if I can produce to your cluster.
Yeah, let's give it a shot. This one of the cool things is that it's fairly portable and that these are just JSON files and they can port back and forth between different instances really easily.
Okay, so I've got those. Give me a second. I'll paste them in. Go ahead and switch to your topics page, and we'll see. We should see that you've got no topics. Okay, let me go ahead and launch. All right, spinning up.
Here we go. Bingo. We
Thank
see
you.
customers and we see orders.
All right. So you can view the details, and we should see the growth in traffic. And then you can go
Fantastic.
back. So on the breadcrumbs at the top, you can click on topics. Yeah. And there it is.
Excellent.
So then, like what we did with Arroyo actually and Streambased when we did this, that gave us then data that we could query and join because of that feature you have that creates those consistent IDs between tables. Otherwise, as you say, if you're just randomly generating values, it's basically impossible to join because there's no relationship.
Yeah, super cool to see.
All right. Well, that is it. That's how simple it is. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean. Appreciate it.